Okay. I did not recruit anybody to help me with the waiting room, so I apologize if I get distracted by that. I may have to stop and admit a couple people if I notice anybody is trying to get in. And again, for the newcomers, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat, or if you're comfortable enough to unmute yourself, that's fine as well. My name's Heather Bush. I'm the Employer Relations Coordinator for Career Services. And one of my jobs is working with employers who want to recruit Pittsburgh State students. And also a big part of my job is event planning, career event planning, specifically the career fairs. So Spring Career Day is next week. It is the All Majors Fair. We do one big one every semester. This year we've went virtual like everyone else. So a lot of things are the same, a lot of things are different. So I'm going to go through kind of how it's going to work to do a virtual career fair, and also some tips for you guys to be successful. So we will get started. I'm also going to talk about just some of our general services, going to touch on Handshake, and just an overview of how it's all going to work. So again, stop me at any point if you want to hear more. If I'm going too quick, just let me know. This is for you guys. So I want to make sure all of your questions are answered. So Career Services is located in Horace Mann. I don't know if you guys have been to our office. Some of you may have. Most freshmen come through with their freshman experience or Guerrilla Gateway classes. This last semester we did, or the last year we did videos for the freshmen, so they didn't get to come in. We're doing all of our services this year virtually. Hopefully in the fall, we will be back to in-person services, but right now everything we do can be done virtually. We have our Career Resource Center where we have peer advisors and our manager who do resume reviews. We also have lots of resources like books, resume examples, cover letter examples, a scholarship book, career topic books that you can check out just like you would at the library. If you need your resume looked at, or if you don't have a resume at all, we can help you build one of those in our resource center. You can make appointments with us through Handshake, either to do a resume review or to start from scratch if you want to do like a Zoom appointment, or you can just email it to us at careers@pittstate.edu if you want us to look it over. We always recommend as many eyes on your resume as you can get, because as you probably know, when you work on any kind of document or paper, the more you look at it, it kind of runs together and you're going to miss little commas or periods or misspellings. So let us take a look at it. They look at hundreds and they are very good at finding all of those little things just to help you make it better. Girl for Hire or Handshake, they're both the same thing. Sometimes our old system used to be called Girl for Hire. The new system is called Handshake. We still kind of do interchangeable. That's our job posting board. I'll talk more about that here in just a second. But we post full-time, part-time, internship, freelance positions. Any job that comes our way is going to go there. So make sure you're familiar with it. I assume you already are because you RSVP'd to this event through there. So I'm guessing you guys are all in there. We do lots of career fairs and events throughout the year, as ranging, as large as the All Majors one, as small as Meet the Firms, where it's very targeted towards accounting and computer information systems. We do, this week we're doing career services out of the office. You probably have gotten an email where we're going to different buildings on campus to do an info table, so you can drop off your resume. If you have any questions about what we do or what we can help you with, we're giving away prizes constantly, professional prize packs. We have cups and all kinds of stuff. So check your email for where we're going to be at tomorrow for that. Last week, we were in the Student Center giving away free professional clothing. Typically, we would have our clothes closet where you could come anytime in the year to get free professional clothing. That's the one thing that we haven't been able to really transition to a virtual service. And so we just did a big 2-day event where students could come and get as many clothes as you want. And then we donated everything because it was getting kind of, the closet hasn't been used in almost a year. So we're going to just start fresh for the next year for that service. We typically would do on-campus interviews. Right now, of course, they're virtual. So if a company wants to do interviews with PSU students, they still can schedule those in Handshake, and you can still access and see who is planning on doing interviewing. They're just through Zoom, like everything. Mock interviews is one of, I feel like, our most underrated services that we provide. They're literally practice interviews. There's no other way you are going to know how well you interview without doing one of these, because if you do, if you're terrible at interviewing, they're probably not going to tell you that you're terrible at interviewing. You're just not going to get the job and never know why. So I would highly recommend that you do this, because it is just a valuable way to find out what you do well in an interview and what you can maybe improve upon. And maybe you just want to know how you should answer a question like, tell me about yourself. So we have graduate assistant who does those. If you want to schedule through Handshake, it's just a 30-minute meeting, about 15 to 20 minutes of a simulated interview. The rest of the appointment time is feedback and questions and answers. We also have a program called Big Interview that we pay for all students. If one-on-one interviewing isn't really your thing, or it's a little too intimidating, you can register through that system, and it's like a recorded interview. So you can pick your major or the types of questions that you are wanting, whether they're easy or hard or behavioral based. There's so many different kind of things you can filter through there, but then you click play, and then there's a person on the screen that asks you the question, and then you record your answer to that question. And so you can do a lot of different things through that system. You can either send your responses to us to review, or you can send them to your friends or family or your teacher if you just want somebody that you're more comfortable with to review it and say, what do you think about this answer? So our instructions for that program are on our website, careers.pittstate.edu. That's been a really nice tool if you're just not wanting to do it one-on-one with our graduate assistant. We also have career counselors in our office. They do one-on-one appointments as well as teach a career explorations class. Excuse me, I have allergies so bad. But I'm loving the warmer weather. I'm sure everybody is. So with the career counseling, it's for students who either don't know what they want to major in, or if you do know what you want to major in, but maybe you're not sure what kind of jobs are available or what you want to do. Kim Hull is our main career counselor, and you can make an appointment with her to kind of explore some of your options. And then, of course, job search assistance. We help students constantly with finding a internship or a full-time job, making connections, just giving you advice. And all of these things, you can make an appointment with one of our staff through Handshake. You just hit the career services tab and then make an appointment and follow the steps there. Again, let me know if you have any questions about anything that I'm talking to you guys about. So back to the Handshake Gorillas for Hire. Every student has an account. You all are in Handshake because you are responding to my emails, you're RSVPing for the events. So at least you're in there. So congratulations for that. That's half the battle. I do just want to say, make sure your profile is up to date, specifically your major, your graduation term, and your classification. So if you're a junior, senior, sophomore, whatever, because that is how we filter students when we're looking for specific things. And employers can also filter through our students to see if they're looking for a certain major, maybe May grads, accounting, they can filter through that and send you messages directly. So if you want to be able to be found in that way, you have to make sure your profile is either community or employer setting, so not private. If your profile is private, which I believe is the default setting, career services can find you, but that's all we can do. We can't pull your resume to send to anybody. Employers won't see you. They won't be able to message you. So if you're wanting to be accessible to employers, make sure you change that setting. Would encourage you to upload your resume, because again, employers can filter and find students based on what they're looking for recruiting wise. Also, we get a lot of requests from employers. So if they can't come to the career fair next week, for example, maybe they have a tight timeline and they said, I'll get an email that says, I'm looking for an automotive student who graduates in May. Can you send me a resume packet? So I will run those filters and pull a resume packet and send to them. So if your profile isn't public and if you don't have a resume, you're not going to be included in that packet. So again, if you don't want to be, that's totally fine. But if you do want to be included in that, make sure those settings are updated. We did have a student, not this last December, but the one before, he actually was messaged on Handshake by an employer who just liked his resume. They said, we're really impressed by your skills. We'd love to talk to you more about a position. He did like a Zoom interview, I think, and this was before Zoom interviews were like a big thing like they are now. And that went well. So they brought him on site to do a second round of interviews with more people at their campus location. And then they didn't really have a position for him. So they created one. He accepted, and now he has a full-time job. And he didn't do anything for that job. They just found him. So it does happen that way. Employers know what they're looking for. So I would encourage you to be as accessible to them as you feel comfortable, because there's opportunities out there for you with minimal work on your part. We do add hundreds of jobs weekly. And again, I said there's full-time, part-time internships. We do on-campus jobs and off-campus part-time jobs. So we really wanted a system for students to only learn one place for a job. So whether you're a freshman and you're looking for your student employment position, or you're a senior looking for your full-time job, it's all going to be in the same place. So we really wanted to make that easy for you guys to navigate. And there's a phone app. So it could not be easier. Download the app and it's just right there at your phone. You can attend Spring Career Day on your phone, but I would recommend a laptop just to make sure everything goes good. But it's an option if your computer is not working for whatever reason. Does anybody have any questions before I move on to Spring Career Day? That was kind of a whirlwind of who we are and what we do. So let me know if you have any questions. Type them in the chat. I'm gonna check our waiting room where it looks like we're good. Okay, so Spring Career Day is next week. This picture it's bittersweet. It makes me sad. This is what we should be preparing for. This is what it typically would look like out at the Plaster Center. And we have 150 companies down the track that you would be visiting with. Unfortunately, that's obviously not the case. Hopefully next year, but it gives you an idea of this is what a career fair is. All of these companies are coming to campus to meet with Pittsburgh State students. So this year we are virtual in Handshake. So Tuesday, March 16th, it does run 10 to 2. That's the same timeline that we would normally use. So it will be in Handshakes. And there's another part, but think of it as there's two places to go. So place one is Handshake. That's where you will schedule your meetings. They're not interviews. It will feel kind of like an interview because it's probably you and one other person. So you see this picture on the screen. That's what it's going to look like. It's you and the person, and then there's a chat box when you go into those one-on-one meetings. There is an option for group sessions as well. So I'll show you where to find that information, but it should be very obvious the way it's labeled. You'll know whether you're signing up for a one-on-one versus a group. You do need to pre-schedule your meetings. For a regular career fair, you could show up the day of and just wander around and find people to meet with. Virtual career fairs are not that way. You really have to do a lot more upfront planning. And I'm going to show you what you need to do to do that and be prepared. You can show up, but you're going to not know what you're doing and you're going to be a little scrambled. So definitely try to carve out some time ahead of time to make your plan, figure out what you're going to do, and sign up for those sessions ahead of time. We did get, so one of the fun things about a career fair is the freebies that you get. You know, you'll go down the aisles and you have your bag and everybody has stuff to give you. It might be candy or pens or stress balls or whatever they have, whatever the cool new thing is at the moment. And so we had a fun idea to ask the employers that were attending our fair to send us the items that they would typically be giving away. And while we can't create a goodie bag for every single student, we asked them to send us, a dozen items, and we're going to put together these prize baskets for students to win. So every meeting that you attend, whether it's one-on-one or a group session, we can pull that list after the fact. The more sessions that you sign up for, the more chances you have to win. And we're going to put together all of these gift baskets of employer goodies. And I have been, like, you can kind of see there's some boxes over. I have been getting boxes for days, and there's coolers. I've got hats and shirts and bags and pins and like all kinds of stuff. So that's what I'll be doing later this week, is putting together hopefully lots and lots of prize baskets, because I know there's more stuff on the way. So all that to say, the more meetings you go to, the more chances you have to win. So we definitely encourage you to talk to as many employers as possible. Okay, so here is some screenshots of Handshake, and this is how you're going to sign up. So you log into Handshake. This is what your dashboard looks like. You're going to click on events. This is going to just pull up every event, and there are lots of employer sponsored events, but you're going to looking for the career fair. So click that career fair tab, click on Spring Career Day, and make sure you hit that big blue register button. I think if you're not, if your profile is private at that point, it's going to ask you to go ahead and change it, because you can't come with a private account, because they want employers to be able to see your profile. So you can just change it at that point of the process. So then it says, congratulations, you're registered. What's next? Click that blue View Employer Sessions. And this is where you're going to see all of the employers that are signed up. So currently we have about 92 companies that are signed up. They're all going to be listed here. Up at the top, you can filter by different things. So you can filter by your major. You can filter by if they're looking for internships or full-time, filter by a specific location. The filters are good, but I will just say at least once, just look through the list without filters, because for example, a lot of employers didn't select any majors that they were looking for, which means they're open to majors. So if you just put in your major, it's going to pull up every company that said they're interested in your major, but it's not going to grab those ones who put no majors. So you're going to miss out on some companies that you may be interested in. So at least one time, go through that list and just see who catches your attention from the list. So on this view, you can see the company name, their logo, where they're located. There's a short bio about what they do. And then that little blue box that says one-on-one, or they might have another one over here next to it that says group sessions. I didn't capture one on this screenshot, but that's where you'll see if it's a one-on-one versus a group session. The one-on-ones are 10-minute appointments. The group sessions, I believe, are 30 minutes, and it will be multiple students with one or two employers. The one-on-one is just you and one or two other employers. So pretty self-explanatory. So let's say we're going to, we want to meet with Crossland. So that's where you would click that button. And then this pulls up another little window. So here's where you can see what times they have available. It's only going to show you the top or the first like 6 times they have available. So if you're looking for something like later in the day, click that show all available times. You can also see, if you scroll down a little bit, the things that they've entered in their registration. So what job types they have available. This U.S. work authorization, this is going to be for international students. If you're looking for a company who accepts OPT or CPT candidates, this is a really great way to filter those companies. You can see what job titles they're hiring for. I think if they have jobs that are currently posted in Handshake, they can also link here as well. So you can see what specific job descriptions look like that they have open. Websites are on here as well. This is very important. If you are meeting with somebody, I would strongly recommend going to their website and getting to know a little bit more about the company. Talk about that here in a minute, but you're definitely going to want to do your company research, but we make it so easy for you. Everything is linked on this page, so it should not be a problem for you. So you're just going to pick your time and hit confirm, and then it's going to show up on the right side of the screen under your sessions. There's also this little tab up at the top that says your schedule. So you can kind of keep track of your day. I would say don't be afraid to sign up with more companies than you probably feel a little bit comfortable, just because you never know what the opportunities are going to be or what you're going to like or want. Also, I would say don't schedule your top pick your first 1 or 2 of the day. Get those awkward jitters and technology bugs out of the way first with a company that maybe you're not super pumped about, and it doesn't matter if it goes terribly wrong, save your top choices for maybe the middle of the day, just so you really get your groove and you kind of get your answers down pat and things like that. Okay, so I said there was 2 locations for Spring Career Day. The handshake is the pre-scheduled not interviews, they're meetings. Part 2 is this Wonder networking room. So this is our live virtual networking room and help desk. And it's not another Zoom. So we did a Zoom room help desk for our Meet the Firms Day last semester. And it's a little awkward. You click into a Zoom, you don't know what's going to be waiting for you or what all these faces are looking at you. And you really can only have like 1 or 2 people talking at a time. So it's just not very conducive to networking or even problem solving with students or employers. So we found this program called Wonder, and you can kind of see it on the back. This was an image from, I think it must have been Expo last year. So you log in and it asks you to fill out your name, and you would be a student. So you would put in your major, and then it takes a picture of you with your webcam, and then it pushes you into this room. You're not automatically connected to another person. So there's none of that like, oh my gosh, there's a face looking at me. You can kind of take in the room. You will then use your mouse to move your little bubble. You can see the little circles right here. Those are people. So you can move your little bubble around the room. Once you get next to another person's bubble, your cameras will connect. So you can see there's, 6 people in this little group here, and you can see their cameras across the top. They're in a conversation. You can see over here, these 2 people are in a conversation. We can't see their videos. They're in a private conversation. So we do have these little, student help desk, employer help desk, navigation ports. So if you're a student, you can go to the help desk if you need to talk to career services. If you're a business major, there will be a business box. So you could potentially meet with an employer who's looking for a business major. If you couldn't get on a schedule, this is another place to go. We've invited all students, all employers, PSU faculty, staff, and our staff will be in there as well. It's just more organic, like you're at a career fair. So when you're walking down on that floor, you might bump into somebody and just kind of have those conversations. So encourage you to go into this room if you don't have interviews. It's just another option to meet with employers outside of that pre-scheduled meeting place. And it's kind of fun because you get to drive your little cars around. So, okay, so moving on from how it works, I'm going to give you some tips to make it as successful for you as possible. So before the fair, that's right now, we're 1 week out. Obviously, you want to make sure you're registered. I showed you how to do that. Hopefully you've done it. If not, you can do it tonight or tomorrow. Just register, click the button. And we should be in the researching organizations phase. So that whole list of companies you can favorite. If you're not ready to sign up, you're just reviewing. You see something you like, you click the favorite so you can find them easily later. You're going to go to their website, Google them, check out their Glassdoor employee reviews, check them out on LinkedIn. Basically, you don't want to go into a meeting with an employer knowing nothing about them. They don't expect you to be experts on their company, but they do expect you to know 1 or 2 things about them, primarily who they are, what they do. Also, you want to see if there's somebody that you're interested in working with. So try to find their mission statement or their company culture or values. The other thing about Handshake is there are names. So once you sign up in an appointment, it will give you a name of the person that you're meeting with. So check out that person on LinkedIn and see if you have any common connections. Maybe they're a PSU alum, or maybe you have a friend in common. Anything that you can do to make a connection with that person is going to help you stand out when you meet with them. So just explore and see what you can find out. You definitely want to make sure your resume is ready to go. You can email that to us if you want us to look at it. Definitely have it uploaded to your resume because, again, as you're signing up for those sessions, the companies are starting to look at their schedules as well. We told them this week is kind of the sign up period. So Monday, they're probably going to get in there, check out their schedule, start clicking on your profile to see what it's about. So you could also update your profile in Handshake and make sure it's just conveying a message that you want to convey to employers. Practice your pitch. So that is your elevator pitch, which is just kind of what we call your 30-second introduction. When you zoom into a room or when you walk up to a table, if we're in person, what are you going to say? You're going to just say, my name's Heather. This is my major. This is my graduation date. Those are kind of the big ones that they want to know to see kind of if you're a fit with them. And then just kind of what your goal is. What are you looking for? What do you want to do? So just a short little introduction. We say prepare it ahead of time. After you do 1 or 2 meetings, you're going to know it backwards and forwards. Try not to, memorize it, but just say it enough that you're comfortable with what you want to say. So you can just kind of introduce yourself and then go from there. Test your technology. This one is huge because technology is great, but it just is not consistent all the time, right? So I would say test your technology today, test it Monday, test it Tuesday morning, because it could work today and then I could have Zoom problems, in another 5 hours. There's no rhyme or reason. So just test it as much as possible. You want to make sure your camera is working, your microphone's working, check the lighting of your room, check your background. You really want to keep things minimal, distraction free. You really want the person that you're talking to's focus to be just on you and maybe not your dog in the background, or if you're next to a window, shut it so you don't have cars going by or honking or barking or whatever. So you can, if you need help and you want to do a practice Zoom with me sometime, email me, let me know. I'm happy to do that. With somebody, just test it and make sure everything's going. Because we had a mock interview day yesterday through Zoom, and we had just so many students who we couldn't hear them. Their mic wasn't working. They couldn't figure out why. So it's for your best interest to test it. You don't want to be rattled. You're already going to be nervous enough to meet with employers. So the less things that you have to worry about that day, the better. So just try to get all of those things squared away beforehand. Okay, during the fair, we do want you to dress professionally, even though you're at home. And, the big joke is wear a suit from the waist up and wear your pajama pants. But I would just say, I'm sorry, there's my light. Go ahead and pull it on the full suit, tie. For one, you don't know if you're going to have to get up and do something, and that would be embarrassing if, you're wearing your pajamas or your yoga pants and then you're half dressed. That would be a little awkward, but also there's something to be said about wearing a suit that just gives you a little bit more confidence. It boosts you, it makes you feel a certain way. So you're going to just feel a lot better, a lot more professional in the mindset for job hunting or networking. So just dress as professionally as you can. Attend from a distraction-free environment. Like we said, we really want to make that focus on you and the conversation, not what's going on around you. Put yourself out there. So this one's tough, especially now. I think it's really easy to be a wallflower at a career fair in general. You kind of walk with your friends in the group and you don't really have to, have a lot of conversations. It's harder to make connections in a virtual fair because you really have to put yourself out there. You have to make the effort to sign up, to log in. It's you and the employer. You're really going to have to kind of fake it till you make it. And I'm a strong I introvert. Like, I have not always loved, networking, small talk, and that's my whole job now. So I have really had to just kind of figure it out and do it. And, the more, just like anything else, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So be brave. This is your future career at stake. So you really can do anything that you put your mind to. Just say, I might be uncomfortable, but I'm going to do it. You're going to grow and it's going to be fine. The employers that we have are so nice. They're used to talking to hundreds and thousands of students probably. So you're not going to mess up and do something that they have never seen before. So just put yourself out there to try to make the connections. A lot of the times we have the same employers come back to fair after fair after fair. So if you're a sophomore or a junior, go and make those connections because the same people will come and they will remember you. And that's the way to make connections. 80% of jobs happen through networking and connections, not by job postings or boards. Yes, we want you to go look for jobs through Handshake, but it really is the people thing. So you want to make those connections, and you can't do that if you don't get out there and meet them. When you're talking with employers, either face to face or Zoom or email, use clear professional business communication. We're not text speaking. You really are putting on your best professional face, and that translates, what you say to how you act, your body language. Be positive. You don't want to be negative or self-deprecating. You have to sell yourself, and sometimes it can be hard to talk about ourselves, especially positively for some reason. But nobody else is going to do that. So this is the one time. Yes, be humble. Nobody likes a cocky person, but this is your one chance to sell yourself. So don't be afraid to speak positively about the things that you can do and how you can be an asset to a company, because again, no one else is going to do that for you. And then as you're wrapping up the conversations, ask for next steps and what their process is. Ask for their contact information. I would actually recommend exchanging contact information first thing, because you never really know if the technology is going to drop, or if their internet goes out or yours. Trade email addresses and phone numbers right away in the chat box, and then if something happens, you can continue your conversation via phone or email, or set up another appointment time. We have had that happen, so make sure you can just get a hold of each other, because 10 minutes will go by so fast. Those one-on-ones are going to go by so fast. So you don't want to spend up all of that time, figuring out the technology. So if it's not working, just move on to the next thing. Say, do you mind calling me? And we'll have this conversation over the phone. There's no problem with that. So then after the fair, you will follow up with any of the recruiters that you met with by sending a thank you email. I always, always, always recommend this to every student, and most students won't. They just won't. But really, you're going to spend 2 minutes to send a thank you email, and I promise you, it's going to really make an impression. People like to be told thank you. They like to be appreciated. Personally, if you can send a handwritten one, I have never thrown away a handwritten thank you note that I've ever received. I'm also kind of a hoarder of memories and nice things, so that's probably part of it. But I promise you, this is something we hear constantly, is that makes a difference. It makes you stand out from other people that they've talked to, makes them feel good. You can just say, thank you for your time. I would love to chat with you more about this opportunity. If you were going to follow up with anything, or if they asked you something and you said, let me get back with you, I'm not sure, that's your opportunity to follow up with anything you wanted to. Maybe if you guys had made some kind of connection about, maybe you both like the same football team or something, you can kind of drop that in there, just to, again, you're just making that connection and kind of solidifying any of that. Following the fair, so if you apply for a job and you go to an interview, if you just apply for a job, the next thing you want is to get an interview. If you go to an interview, the next thing you want is to get the job. Well, all of that happens phone and email. The biggest complaint, hands down, we get, and not that we get a ton of complaints from employers, but the biggest one is that students can be difficult to reach. You don't check your email all the time, and you don't check your voicemail all the time. So just, you're putting your resume out into the world. Expect that somebody's going to follow up and want to get a hold of you. Hopefully your resume is great, your interview is great, and you want them to call you. So make sure you're checking that email. Use your gus.pittstate email address on your resume. Employers love it. It says your name. It says you're affiliated with Pitt State. It's easy for them. It's a nice professional email address. And then check it. And then your voicemail, check it. And then make sure it's set up. A lot of students don't even set their voicemail up. So those are kind of the big ones that employers have a hard time reaching you. So just kind of know you're putting yourself out in the universe. You're expecting that follow-up. So make sure you're ready for it. And then rock your interviews. It's really just being yourself, making those connections. And also a big tip for meeting with employers, it can feel very intimidating to put yourself out there, to be judged almost, it feels like, but really tell yourself that you're also interviewing them to see if you want to work for them, because it might not be a good fit. So that kind of reclaims some of the power, I think, in an interview or a meeting. It's not all about, can I say the right things to make them want me? It's, do you guys want each other? Is it going to be a good fit? Because, you know, 90% of a job is finding a good fit. Most of the jobs, you can be trained in a lot of things. It's finding good personality fits and character fits and culture fits. That's kind of the difficult thing to find. So don't try to give answers that you think they want to hear or you think is the right answer. Be honest and be yourself. If they don't want you for you, you probably don't want them either. So that's my biggest advice on the meeting interview tab. So then just again, a couple of things to be prepared as you move forward from today on to next week. Your resume, send it to us, let us look at it. If you don't have one, get on to that. You definitely need to have one before next week. We can help you build one if you just have nothing, make an appointment with us through Handshake and we can help you get that going. If you do have one, just send it in an email and say, hey, can you check this out for me, and make sure it's just all, all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. You want to make sure it's ready to go. And then it doesn't hurt to do a practice interview. Do a mock interview with our GA or on the big interview program. Just kind of get some of those, especially with the technical stuff. You can do a little practice session and make sure everything's going right. You can dress up like you're going to next week and say, what do you think of my outfit? We really are here to help you make the best impression and make the best connections that you possibly can. So any question, there are no dumb questions. I promise you, that is our whole job. We are just here to help you guys get jobs. So utilize the resources that you have available. And here is contact information. Check out our website if you haven't, careers.pittstate.edu. We have a ton of resources. We have sample resumes, sample cover letters. We have a whole list of what we call power verbs. So as you're building those tasks that you do in a job, we have lots of videos on there, like how to be successful out of career fair, what to write in a thank you note, tons of videos called career spots. If you're looking for those, they're like little 4-minute videos. Email address, phone number. We have social media accounts. So check all of those things out. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was a lot of information really quickly. But if you don't, I'll stick around. I'll go ahead and stop the recording. If I can find my button. If I'm done, so if you are done too, you can leave the meeting. If you want to hang around for a minute and ask questions, I am available. Email me, call me, whatever you need, we are here. I'll stick around for a few minutes though. Thank you guys for attending.